Important layer of protection. During our news at 7, John Carter shared his journey taking on a form of skin cancer. Recently underwent surgery to remove cancer there from his forehead. Not his first rodeo either. He's had other surgeries as well. And as John told us, you got to take this seriously. It might just save your life. So we really want to drive that home even further tonight. John's joined us here to talk more about this. First of all, thanks for sharing, because I think it's so critically important. And you're doing okay, right?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm glad I'm able to help spread the message. Yeah. And, you know, we've got a bigger audience maybe than somebody else, maybe a friend or whatever. So I've just slather on the sunscreen is my big mantra.
Let's go through some basics here. First of all, there are different types of skin cancer.
There are three most common types of skin cancer, and I've had the first two. There's a basal cell carcinoma, and there's squamous cell carcinoma. They're very slow going, typically very slow growing, and they're right there at the top of your skin, basically. Now, the most deadly form of skin cancer is called melanoma. And that's a skin cancer. The reason it's more dangerous is because it can metastasize. And it can do it very quickly. So, you know, it's important to be checked for that as well, because if you've got the squamous or the basal, as I've dealt with throughout the last several decades, it can be treated very, very easily. And melanoma, if caught very early, can be treated easily as well.
So how do we protect ourselves from these things?
Well, that's the big thing. I talk about slathering on the sunscreen. That is like the #1 thing. When you go outside, you need to have sunscreen on. But the doctors recommend that you also wear a hat, wear long sleeve shirts. I know everybody doesn't like to do that. You like to go down to the beach. If you're using sunscreen, you're going to the beach, you're outdoors, you need to remember, putting it on in the morning, it isn't going to last all day long. You want it to last as long as possible, but you're going to have to put it back on every hour and a half, every 2 hours later. And even though the sunscreens say they're waterproof, that's really, well, yeah, they'll go in the water and you come out, but put it on, use a high SPF if you can, and just slather it on. Don't put on just a little dime size all over your body. You need more.
And if you get out of the shower, are there things we should be checking for? What should we be looking out for here?
Well, there are a lot of things to be looking out for, and if you know your ABCs, that's what you need to look out for. And my doctor, Dr. Haley Light Dunn, can explain more what that's all about.
A stands for asymmetry. You know, what is the sides? One side looking like the other. B is border, so having irregular, uneven borders is going to be a worse sign. C is an important one, that's color. So moles that are one color, homogeneous, are going to be, for the most part, more likely to be benign. If they have green, brown, black, all mixed together, absolutely need to get that one checked out. D is diameter, and I used #2 pencils in school. So when something's bigger than the size of a pencil head eraser, absolutely need to make sure someone's looked at that mole. And then E is the most important. So as dermatologists, we see you once, twice a year at most. If you know that a mole is changing, if you look down at your leg and you have a new brown spot that 100% you're like, that wasn't there 2-3 months ago, it needs to be evaluated, because that absolutely could be a new melanoma or a new atypical mole that needs to be treated. So it's the evolution of lesions over time.
It's really good, important information there. And here's the thing, Jamie, a lot of people think, well, skin cancer for older people like myself. No, Dr. Light Dunn just recently saw a young woman who was around 22 years old, had melanoma. It can strike anyone. Now, if you're light-skinned like I am, blue-eyed like I am, chances are greater. Men are more prone to get skin cancer than women. But I just highly recommend, if you can, go see a dermatologist. And you should start that early as well. Get just a basic check to see where you are, and then a year down the road, if things have changed, go back again. So just important to be seen.
Sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen.
Slather it on is what I say. Anytime you're outdoors, you need to wear sunscreen.
No question about it. John, this is really important. I'm really glad you shared this with everybody at home, because it's important information even as we get to the end of summer. It's still out there. The sun is still beating down on us.
Sunscreen all year long. It's not just during the summer. All year long for your sunscreen.
Great information. I'm glad you're doing well, too.
I am too,
Kim, back to you.
All right, guys, coming up next, we have tonight's cover story.